Hey guys, it's the Lord here, back again with another review, and today I'll be taking a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Target exclusive Into the Spiderverse Spider-Man Noir. Not to be confused with Nick Cage's other persona in the Marvel Universe, Johnny Blaze, aka the Ghost Rider, who, in all honesty, I would have much rather have had. That said, I guess Spider-Man Noir here is better than nothing, so before we get into the meat and taters of this review, kindly moving Mr. Noir out of the way here so we can take a look at both the front, focus on it there for you, and the back, focus once again, of this very bland and boring packaging. Now, not to beat around the bush about the windowless packaging over at Hasbro, because there are plenty of people who have already voiced their opinions about this. You know, a lot of people have come out saying that they dislike this, they think it sucks, they think it's stupid, and I myself am in the middle because A, I'm not a mitten box collector, but B, it's all about the presentation, man. This boring render stuff, at least on the Legends line, because I'm like 90% sure that the Transformers and G.I. Joe classified packaging has really cool artwork, whereas the Marvel Legends, they just, of all the Hasbro brands, seem the cheapest, which I think is going to be the word of the day. Cheap. So, maybe, just maybe, switch over to some cool artwork from the source material on the front of these boxes. I mean, you did it with the Venom 3-pack, right? I think they ought to do it with more releases going forward and in the near to distant future. But at the end of the day, it is just a box, and you know what we do with those around here. Standing Mr. Noir back up. Let me adjust the camera a little bit. There we go. And taking a look-see at his accessories. He comes with one gun, which I believe is a Luger. We're used to seeing this with the Doctor Doom figures, so that's cool, I guess. At least it's not like a laser gun, right? Sorry, I couldn't see my hand there. But I think it would have been nice if he came with two of these, in all honesty, because judging by the designs of the villains from this movie, this little gun ain't gonna do squat against them, so good luck with that, bruh. That said, he also comes with a head with no hat, which is fine. He's been depicted without his hat, both in the comics and I guess in this movie, though I don't remember it off the top of my head. That said, why didn't we get some extra, fist hands or wall crawly hands or thwip hands? I mean, it is a Spider-Man character after all. Doesn't he do all the Spider-Man things a Spider-Man character does? Or is it hindered due to his outfit? Because I imagine it's probably hard to get around wearing a trench coat all the time. Or a duster, whatever you want to call it. But either way, instead of all that, though, we get reused Spider-Ham, who I believe is voiced by the guy from Big Mouth. He was also Chip in the live-action Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers movie that came out last year. As well as Ichabod Crane in a really funny Saturday Night Live skit I like, featuring the Headless Horseman. I'm going on a tangent here, but 9 out of 10 chance, if you're buying this figure, you already have this, because he came with Spider-Gwen, the Into the Spider-Verse version of Spider-Gwen. And that version wasn't an exclusive and was relatively easy to get. I think you could still get it, actually, off places like Big Bad Toy Store and whatnot. But either way, he's got a ball joint in the head. Works fine. You can decapitate him if you're cruel like me. But there you go. That said, however, I would have much rather have gotten some alternate hand options for Mr. Noir here, because a lot of people kind of dogging on the old one, which, yeah, it's a little bit dated, but I think of the two, I think I like the old one a little bit better, man. It's just doing something for me, whereas this guy falls a bit short in some areas, and we're going to talk about that, because my experience with this figure has been the hottest of hot garbage. The first one I got felt like a few of the joints were going to shear right off because, you know, Hasbro uses the utmost highest quality of plastics and loves their gummy PVC. And then this one, which is the better of the two I've had, because I did have to replace him, much like my Null from the Venom and Null 2-pack, has a removable arm. But, in hindsight, it's actually a blessing in disguise for this review, because I can just slip the coat right off. So we can take a better look at the base body underneath. So none of the articulation will be hindered. So I guess that's kind of cool. Kind of wish this arm would, I guess, break off too at some point. But moving this very rock hard trench coat out of the way, it doesn't really allow for any extra movement. The base body is, I believe, the T'Challa Star-Lord from the What If Watcher Build-A-Figure wave. Someone correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think that's what it is. And to my understanding, the head is new. This little collar piece, which is supposed to look like a turtleneck, which is kind of funny. And then this holster, which is just a slip-on belt, whereas the other Noir, it's kind of keyed into the figure. And I think everything else is the same from T'Challa Star-Lord. So, as far as articulation goes, you get a double ball peg in the head. That works okay. It's got your tilt. It's got your up and down. It's fine. You got your rotation. Shoulders go out to the side really well. Even with the trench coat, they can get about that far. They go back down. Rotate all the way around. I will say the shoulders are a little stiff, so you might want to lubricate those, especially since the biceps are so gummy. Which on this side on mine, I did have to file this one a little bit, but it seems to be working now. The other one just felt like it was going to tear off, so I guess that's fine. It's got a double elbow, which gives you a decent range. I think the old one gets a little bit more than that. Straightening it out. His wrists can rotate. And they don't have the right hands, or the hinge in the hands, for gripping, you know, guns or weapons or accessories of any kind. So that kind of sucks, but you know what, neither does the old one. So nobody wins there. His ab crunch does click forward once, and back once. He does have a waist twist. Belt does not get in the way. Now, if he had a diaphragm joint, I could just swap this shoulder onto the other one. So, yeah, and like I said, word of the day is cheap. This torso feels very, very cheap to me. Either way, though, he's got hips that kick forward, kick back, kick out. I think that's a little bit better than the old one. But with the coat, you can only do so much. He does have a thigh cut, double knee. Now, the old one can definitely kick better than that. Or bend better than that, I should say. And then he has an ankle that can move forward and back, as well as a rocker. And peg holes at the bottom of the feet, but he doesn't really need a stand. So popping that out. I will say, I don't know if you can see in there, I think there's like one little tooth that's got like the end sheared off it a little bit. That might be what's going on there, but either way, it's not bad enough, but kind of feel ripped off, dude. You know, who was it? Ryan Ting said that they're going to try and up their quality control moving forward with this plastic-free packaging, and so far I haven't seen it, so I wonder if they're going to step it up before or after they lose the license to McFarlane Toys. I mean, McFarlane Toys has its issues. You know, all you haters out there, some of you have some valid points, okay? But Marvel Legends is by far probably the most disappointing toy line next to NECA's Gargoyles output, because the quality just ain't what it used to be. And that is a shame, because as I said before in the Century review, not to turn this into another Century review, but I used to collect a lot of Marvel Legends. I used to buy them all, pretty much. Even the MCU stuff, but this is also before the MCU went to crap. But I used to buy a lot of Legends, and now I'm struggling to put together a top 10 video for, like, the best. Because, honestly, I could probably do one for the worst, if I'm being honest. Or the top 10 gummiest, but I think we all know Sleepwalker would win that one, right? So, yeah, very disappointing. At least for me, my experience with this figure, once again, was the hottest of hot garbage. But this is the better of the two. It at least doesn't feel like it's going to break. I mean, it technically already has, if you consider the arm thing, but maybe that's just it won't snap in for whatever reason. But I imagine if it could, it would be very, very difficult to do. Very difficult to do. It would probably break in the process trying to snap it on, because that is hard plastic up in there, not, again, PVC, like I wish this guy had, just so I could do a swap and fix everything up. Putting Spider-Ham next to him here. That said, though, the old Spider-Man Noir goes for mucho dinero, and even though this guy appears to be sold out on Target, I would say pick this one up if you're in need for a Spider-Man Noir figure. Go with either your comic or movie Spiderverse setup, because, well, again, this one's more affordable, and honestly, the sculpt ain't bad. I think that's fine. Awkward anatomy in mind, you know, he is supposed to have the trench coat. It's not like the old one where you could display it both ways, but I will say that old one isn't as bad as people are making it out to be. I think it still holds up somewhat, other than maybe the pins, because this guy is pinless. But is that really worth the price of feeling like it's gonna break and fall apart on you? I don't really know. You'll have to let me know about that in the comments below. But before this review drags out any longer than it already has, let's now move on and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is the Into the Spiderverse Spider-Man Noir and Spider-Ham alongside their traditional comic book counterparts from, I believe, the Lizard Build-A-Figure wave for Spider-Man Noir and Monster Venom Build-A-Figure wave for Spider-Ham, which I think is a figure that gets a bad rap. Both of these guys, in fact. I think they're alright for what they were. I mean, they did come out a few years ago now. 2018, was it? Man, time flies. That said, we also have the infamous Retro Spidey, in case you wanted to throw this new Noir in a comic book display with your other comic book-based Spider-Verse characters. I think you could do it, but let's be honest, the Retro Spidey is built like a brick sheet house and is a little bit large and in charge compared to this version of Spider-Man Noir anyways. I think the old version is definitely a better fit to go with the Retro Spidey, but if you wanted to use the 60th anniversary Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man, I think this new Noir scales better with him. And that said, before anyone asks, know that original Spider-Man Noir did not come with that hat. I actually ripped it off an Eisenhower Walter White figure. The infamous Walter White figure that came with the bag full of meth. So, yeah, who'd have thought a Breaking Bad figure would have provided the perfect hat for the comic book style Spider-Man Noir. Learn something new every day. And last, but certainly not least, we have our two regulars, the Mythic Legions, Brother Mandibulus, Livid Spawn, who as usual, towers over everyone. And is it just me? Would it be really cool if we saw a quasi-detective mobster style Spawn from the Toddfather at some point? I don't know about you, but in Marvel, there is a mobster style Ghost Rider. In fact, I think there's a couple actually. And of course, we can't forget about Joe Fixit, the mobster style Hulk. So, I don't know, wishful thinking I suppose, but with that being said, time to wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and even though I was very much looking forward to getting my hands on this figure and adding him to my Spiderverse shelf, I gotta be honest with you guys in saying that once again, Hasbro's lack of quality control and overall lack of quality in general turned this release to what could have been a fairly exceptional one to a below average to even subpar one. I mean, come on, guys. If you're gonna cheap out and do the whole plastic-free packaging thing, you know, save the environment, whatever. I mean, if I'm being honest with you, I think the environment was screwed 30 years ago. But hey, to each their own. Either way, you can't half-arse a half-arse. Like, you can't make the packaging so cheap and save money on that, and also make the figures cheap too. You need to put the money back into the figures. Like, you were making record profits a couple of years ago, but clearly you didn't put that into the product, and that is unacceptable by any toy company. I don't care if it's McFarlane, NECA, Four Horsemen, Spiro Toys, Executive Replicas, Mezco. I don't care who it is, but if you have the money to make the product better, then make the freaking product better, dude. Come on, you're better than this. The old Spider-Man Noir from 2018 feels like an overall more solid release than this guy here. So, at the end of the day, if you missed out on that previously released Spider-Man Noir, because he does go for mucho dinero on the secondary market nowadays, and you're just looking for one to add to your comic display, or if you're like me, you want to round out the Spiderverse roster, because I'm gonna be real with you, I thoroughly enjoyed the Spiderverse movie. I think it's one of the better Marvel movies to come out in the past few years, despite the fact that Phase 4 of the MCU is nothing but the hottest of hot garbage, with the exception of a very few things, at least in my opinion, because hashtag screw Kevin Feige. But as far as Spider-Verse goes, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought the animation was great, the art style was great, despite the fact I am more of a traditional, 2D, hand-drawn animation type guy, 80s, 90s cartoons, whatnot. I thought the cast was great. I thought Nick Cage did a good job. I thought everyone else did a good job. Even the guy from Big Mouth, even though he just sounds like the guy from Big Mouth and like everything he does. But hey, it's honest work, right? And I also thought the plot and the story and everything else in between was good. Well, actually, I thought the soundtrack was crap, but I'm not the demographic for trap rap and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I was looking forward to getting my hands on this figure, and I was thoroughly let down by it, because once again, Hasbro proves that they just straight up don't care. So, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you're so inclined, please feel free to do all the YouTube rigmarole, as well as hit me up over on Instagram at Overlord Productions. If you ever want to talk toys or anything specific, that is the #1 way to get a hold of yours truly. But as always, keep the comments civil, because the world sucks enough as it is, especially when I literally see Hasbro losing this license if they don't get their act together. I mean, I know people like the dog on the Toddfather and everything, but hey, if he got the Marvel license, there is a better chance that we're going to get characters that I want. If you're one of the 2 people out there that actually give a crap about the Serpent Society or C to D list X-Men characters, I am very much happy for you. I'm glad you're getting what you want. But at the end of the day, this is my channel, and I care about what I want. So, where the heck is my Ghost Rider wave? And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.